So in this tutorial, I'm going to briefly cover how to lay out using InDesign and connect different types of files in there and compose drawing board. First thing is to open up InDesign here and click Create. And under New Document, I can choose Print. Depending on if you were going to project it, it's making a digital PDF, you might use web. Print a hard copy, we're going to use print. Over here on the right hand side, I'm going to go to Images, and then I'm going to get 36. Okay. And then we can make multiple pages if you want, but for now I'm just going to edit one. I'm going to uncheck facing page. Then I'll click Create. Okay, so this is our drawing board. Over here on the right hand side is our Pages panel. Use that to add pages or edit the template, but of that for right now. What I would do is I would go in order to make a layout. I could bring in two diagrams so far. Select them both, drag them in, and when you place something in InDesign, in order to keep it scaled, instead of clicking and dragging, I'm just going to click. Place one, then I'm going to click for the next one, and I want to make sure I don't click inside of the first one, because it will replace it. Just click somewhere outside of the original one. Okay. What's great about this is because we exported from Rhino to scale. The scaling. Our drawings are still to the right scale. So the other thing I could do now is select them both at the same time. So in InDesign, there's two ways of scaling. There is the blue outline. It's just a cropping window. So all that's going to do is going to crop your diagram down, like however much of your image we can see. Just changing like bounds of how the image is back. If I want to scale the cropping boundary and the image at the same time, hold Control, Shift, drag. That'll scale both at the same time. If I've already moved the boundary, but I want to scale the image inside of it without scaling the boundary, double click. Now you can see I have some orange grips way out here. Brown, whatever you call it. Those are the image itself. So you can see the cropping boundaries and changing the scale of the image. There's kind of two, like every image you place in here has an image scale and a cropping scale. Okay, what I want to do is I want to select both of these images at the same time and crop them at the same time. And that's going to enable me to that they're cropped in a similar way. Probably also scale up the middle page. You can see where I move this grip up. It's highlighted in magenta. That's midpoint of the page. It's over. Both. Scale it down. With the center of the page. And then if I wanted to move both of these images, because I can't actually select the image itself simultaneously, what I would need to do is double click, and when you move stuff, just like in Illustrator, you can move it using the arrow key. Very little. If I hold Shift on the arrow key, by a larger increment. So I just hit it 4 times. So I would do the same to this. Now we know that they're kind of positioned in exactly the same place relative to the. Last thing I want to point out is when you're done with this design file, the way InDesign works is it creates what's called a link. So over here on the right hand side, our linked file, or are our links. See, those are the individual files we have in here right now. Now, just to kind of demonstrate what that means, if I go back to the Illustrator, and let's say I wanted to edit this image somehow, I don't know, maybe I want to make the opacity of, all I would do is edit the Illustrator file and just save it. Save it. Save as. Right. Well, so normally you would save it, and then over here in InDesign, it would automatically change to the changes you made. Illustrator. So I don't think that'll happen on your, but anyway, I can also just go as, I could rename it to, then if I wanted to, so let's say now I'm doing other two images in here. So I can make a copy of stuff by just dragging and keyboard, keep it, move it like in a straight line by holding shift. So you'll see the double arrow. Okay. Now if I drag in my new image into design and I drop it in one of these, actually replace what was in that image, in that window. So you can kind of see that it's dated version of the file. And the last thing I want to show you is obviously the resolution of or the quality of these images is really crappy, right? The reason for that is, InDesign is often used for multiple layouts at the same time, whole documents or books or like several drawing boards. And in order to make it run fast, while you have a ton of information in there, it does what's called a low quality preview. So up here, view, want to see what it's actually going to look like. Quality, just hit overprint preview. And now we can see the kind of real quality images, but you'll also notice it'll be at the cost of some graphic performance. So the more stuff you have in your file, if you're trying to work overprint preview on, it'll start to go slower and slower. So most of the time, we just want to stay on low quality, but just so that we can kind of check in on that everything is looking good, we can go to overprint preview and kind of check whether that's the right quality. Okay. The very last thing I want to show you. So when you're done with this file, different things. First of all, you want to save it. Save the InDesign. As I mentioned, because you have links, you also need to make sure preserve the files that are placed in that InDesign file. So in other words, InDesign is not going to save these drawings for us. It's just going to save the layout based on these files. We also need to make sure we save the files and keep them in the same location if we ever want to go back and edit. The other thing you want to do would be to export. So if I go File, Export, that's the best way to save it out as a PDF. So under Save As Type, we can choose two things. One of them is print, and one of them is interactive. So if you have like media in your document, like for example, a video file or something like that, and to save inside of a PDF, you would want to choose interactive. Because this is just a print document, we're just going to choose print. PDF. Click Save. So in here you have a bunch of options. Basically, the most important thing is under. So here is where you know, place any image inside of InDesign. You know, you can scale it to whatever you want. So like these images could technically be like 800, could be super high resolution. And when we save it as a PDF, we want to kind of everything in one resolution so that we don't have a massive PDF file. So in here, in the export to PDF options under compression, choose like what's the limit. Anything above 50, it's scaled down to 100. And so everything will be that's above 300 will become 300. And same monochrome images just means like pure black and white, so that doesn't really apply in this case, but you can also turn to keep that super. Okay, and export, and it should save PDF. Okay, so the PDF file, that's the document you would use to color whatever. But you know, you can also take that document printer, print it. You can print directly. Print. Choose whichever printer you want. And in here, setup, we would use the size of the page. And that is also where we would tell it if we want 4x36. We tell it we want see like a little page. So because I chose a printer that doesn't actually print large, but if you have the printer installed, we go to so we get to F, choosing that's the 24. Should be like full scale. Go ahead and click print. Okay, and should be this tutorial.